If this is your first time using the calculator, then we do recommend reading through all these pop-up bubbles. There are also hover notes you can find with this red triangle at the top of the cell here. This is going to be input specific help for each input along the way. For example, if I hover over city, it gives me, all the information I might need about that input. We also recommend, as I said, watching all these tutorial videos and taking the TECA course. In this video, I'm going to show you how I recommend setting up your files. So first of all, I have my file right here. Now this is the file that I downloaded from online and I've activated it. So if you haven't watched the activation video, you should do that. Here's the file here. So the first thing I would do is I want to rename this file to something like my primary copy. Now, what this tells me is that this is going to be the file that is the starting point of every other file. And so I'm going to show you a folder system that I recommend. So let's say it's called heat loss projects. Okay, heat loss projects 2. I guess I've already done this. So here's the empty folder here. I'm going to drag this primary file into there. I can also make a new folder, maybe call it a template new project folder. And then I can even put that inside of here. So now I've got a template new project folder. What I could also do is add documents to this folder that I might want to use on every project. For example, you can download the BC Building Code 9.36, which is energy requirements. This gives us our code minimum insulation values and window properties, for example. It's a good thing to be able to refer to for these projects. You might save a PDF of that right here. Maybe there's other building code snips or maybe customer specific information. You could put all that in this template folder here. Now, this is my primary file, and it's going to live in my template folder. So let's get this file set up so that I don't have to, add things in that are going to be the same for every single project. I'm going to click Enable Content. If you ever see that, you can just do that. So I would add my name. I would add my company. I'm not going to do all this here, but I could fill in all of these fields because I don't want to do that every single project. Maybe I only work with existing homes, so the site is going to be NA, the lot NA, and the building model NA, or I could write existing home. However you want to set this up. Maybe we're always in BC, so you can leave that as the selection. Any information that you want to be the same in every file, get this file set up that way. I'm going to hide these. I'm going to hide these pop-ups because I don't want to have to do this every time I come into a new project. Right? Maybe I can even come down here and define some windows and doors so I don't have to do that every project. For example, I could go 1.80, 0.35 double glaze window, and I could say code minimum zone 4, which is USI 1.80, solar heat gain 0.35, because that is just, my assumption. And I could call that window ID 1. Now this maybe is something you're defining a lot for the different types of projects that you do. Now that I've done this, I won't have to go do this every single time. That's going to live in my primary file. This is just examples of things you can do. Now I'm going to close out of here and make sure I save it. And now my template project folder is basically ready to go. So let's say my first project comes in from Ron the Builder. So I'm just going to copy this folder. I right click and press copy, or if you want a short key on your keyboard, press Control C, and then I can right click and press paste, or if you want a shortcut on the keyboard, Control V, and here's that folder. So I'm going to rename that Ron the Builder, and the address is 257 Victoria Drive, let's say. Now, when I go into this project folder, I can drag in the drawings. Maybe I have some photos, maybe some other information here. I can drag all that into this folder. And this calculator that lives here, it's going to start at whatever that primary file I made was. All the information in the primary file is going to be right here. But now I can just rename it 257 Victoria Drive. And now any edits that I make to this file are going to live there. That means I can come back to this at any time in the future and look at it, make changes or edits. And then when the next project comes in, I just copy and paste and I rename that and away I go. So this, I believe, is the best way to organize your folders.